Yo, what's going on YouTube? Today we're taking a look at the HRM-9 and understanding why it's one of the best guns you should be using in Season 1 Reloaded Warzone. If you like today's video, drop a like and subscribe for more future content. Without further ado, let's take a look at the meta build. So here we are taking a look. We've got the HRM-9, and this build is all about mitigating recoil while trying to replenish some of that mobility and some of the weapon handling. Now, this is a new gun that was introduced midway through Season 1 with Season 1 Reloaded, and so was this Jack BFB muzzle. Now, for those of you who don't know, most of us do, but this muzzle in particular has so much recoil mitigation, but it does have some downsides that we should talk about. The gun kick, horizontal and vertical recoil are just top of the line. There's really not another attachment in the game that provides this much recoil control. Guys, I'm telling you, 60, 20, 40 is a very big impact. This has made recoil mitigation for many guns, LMGs, battle rifles, assault rifles, everything is just so much easier to control thanks to this one attachment. Now, it does have a significant impact on your movement speed. So with an SMG where movement is key in and around buildings and in close quarters, drop shots, jump shots, slide cancels, everything, being able to get your gun down sights and ready to fire is a very important tactic and important feature. So as we look for the recoil mitigation, we have to keep a very close eye on the ADS speed and the sprint to fire speed. So with this attachment, we're looking to mitigate some of that mobility and add some more agility back to our character, to our build. And that all has to do with the DR6 hand stop and the hatchet light stock. So if you take a look at the DR6, this in particular is helping bring back some of that ADS and sprint to fire speed. Not a whole lot, it's not bringing it back completely, but this just helps with movement all around. Top to bottom, you're able to move faster while aiming, get your guns down sight quicker, everything that we want. The other contender to kind of think through here is this XRX Edge, but for me personally, I think the ADS speed, the 8.3% for the ADS speed versus the 5.8, I think that is really the metric that I am looking to improve here with this build. And then, of course, the sprint to fire, 7.5 with the DR6 versus the XRX at only 4.7. So, really, I think this is another strong contender. But for this build, I'm looking to control as much recoil as I can with the Jack BFB, and then look to bring back some of that mobility with the DR6. And the same goes with the light stock. Now, there's not many options when it comes to the stocks. There's only three. No stock is something to consider. It adds a lot of mobility back, but I really like this hatchet light stock. I think when you take a look at it, again, it's helping just inch our way back into being a little bit more agile and getting the ADS back. Now, it does hurt the recoil, but I think I'm not too worried about recoil because of the Jack BFB and all of the positive improvements that has brung. The 50 round drum, that's just obvious. 20 is not an option. 50 you're going to need for really anything, trios, quads, everything. And then when it comes to the last attachment, it's really a toss-up. I'm really kind of going back and forth between two. Right now, I'm rocking the high grain rounds, the 9mm high ground. Really, what I'm looking to do here is just add more bullet velocity and damage range. This is an SMG. Having that additional range does help. It turns it into a more of an all-around build. The base effective damage range starts on this gun at 16.5. So having this just kind of adds that a little bit of additional effective range and the bullet velocity. Still really low at only 552, but it's nice to get that additional range. Now, again, this does hurt the recoil, but not too concerned about that based off the improvements from the Jack. Now, again, the other consideration, a lot of people in the community are rocking the long barrel here. Now, this does add even more damage range, taking the base from 16.5 to that 23.7. Adding bullet, this is where I think it has the most impact, making that bullet velocity, almost 720. So a significant improvement in the bullet velocity in and of itself. But again, it's hurting some of the movement stuff. I'm looking to add range while not necessarily hurting my movement. So that's why I prefer to kind of go with the 9 millimeter high grain, but a lot of people rocking the Princeps, and I can absolutely recommend this. For me personally, if you take a look at just the iron sights, for me, I like these iron sights of the standard barrel. It kind of just reminds me of the MP5, the Lockman sub, whatever you want to call it. For me, I just find it a lot easier to control these sights in particular. So for me, it's just more of a personal preference thing where I like to um, utilize that particular iron sight. Now, if you switch it up to the long barrel and then take a look, you'll notice that the ADS, the iron sights are different. For me, I'm just not too comfortable with this. I don't know. It's not hard to control, but I'm just so used to that. MP5 was one of my favorite guns, and it's just more of a comfort thing. So for me, the additional range that you get out of this barrel, it's just a couple meters, but I think you know, for me, I would prefer the iron sights that I'm most comfortable with, and that comes with the standard barrel and just using the 9 millimeter high ground. So this is the build that I'm absolutely recommending for the HRM-9. Currently, I believe this is the best SMG in the game, and let's take a look at the stats and figure out why. So without further ado, let's flip on over to the information here. So if you take a look at the top two SMGs in the game, they have to be the ARM-9 and the HRM-9. Now, these are two guns that have very good damage range. And now, if you compare them to the Swarm will absolutely still beat out in close ranges. But if you look, the Swarm here, if you take a look at some of these graphs here, the Swarm in Season 1 was this green bar. It has been nerfed. The damage drop off, the range drop off is rather significant. This gun used to be able to compete out to 20 meters. Now it just really can't. I mean, there's been, it's been nerfed essentially. So there's just no way to really, you're going to lose some of these mid-range gunfights and you'll dominate up close, as you did, in Season 1. But as you start to use this gun in further mid-range distances, you will lose more gunfights. So, if you just take a look at the new Swarm versus the HRM-9, yes, the Swarm will still win within 6 meters, but this gun, from a baseline standpoint, not even factoring in the high grain ammunition, which will extend it out even further to about here, um, is just going to significantly perform better. Kind of, this is going to be a more better all around, all purpose gun. In close quarters, it'll still be strong, but it'll just be able to carry that effective range a little bit further. Now, the ARM-9 is a very good gun. This is probably one of my favorite SMGs, probably my second favorite SMG to use. I'll provide a build and an updated video later in the week on that one. But if you take a look at those two head to head, it's really neck and neck. And if you take a look at just the base numbers, the ARM-9 appears to be the outright winner, especially when you're factoring in just ADS. Just baseline stats, the ARM-9 is better. Then you factor in ADS and it's still better. But where the ARM-9 is bad is the sprint to fire. Now, I personally run auto attack sprint in my settings, so I always take a look at that. And if you factor that in, really the ARM-9 is just terrible. There's just no way to put it, other way to put it. The ARM-9 is terrible with a sprint to fire factoring that into the calculations. And that's where you'll see that, yes, there's from 30 meters out, the ARM-9 is performing a little bit better, but at 30 meters, I'm probably rocking a Bass B, probably rocking an LMG, or, oh, I might even be sniping at that point. So, um, you know, where I really want my SMGs to perform is in that 5 to 15, 20 meter range. And as you can see, with auto attack sprint on and sprint to fire factoring in, that's where the HRM-9 is going to perform best. So for me, I think it's a clear um, outright win for the HRM-9, but I have a strong build for the ARM-9 that I'm going to be dropping later this week. It's still a very strong gun, a solid build, solid gun, but in terms of head-to-head comparison, I think the HRM-9 is currently top tier, tier 1 meta for Season 1 Reloaded. So there you go, guys. This is my HRM-9 SMG build for Season 1 Reloaded. I do believe this is one of the best guns in the game, and I highly recommend you give it a shot if you have not already. If you like today's video, please consider subscribing, drop a like and comment below, and I'll catch you in the next one.